Jeff Stotts of RotoWire.com. Hello, Jeff. How are you?
I'm doing well.
So let's update some of the star players. You got a list of star players here and a list of guys who could have impacts in the second half of the season. For example, Ryan Braun is probably everybody's #1 outfielder on draft day. But Ryan Braun, after signing the big contract, has been healthy, not healthy. He's got a calf injury, but he's had some other things too. A bleak at the beginning of the year. What's Ryan Braun's status? What's your prognosis for him for the rest of the year?
Well, I'm a little bit worried about what we're hearing now. You know, he missed 8 games before the break and then came back and then, exited early on Saturday and sat out Sunday. And that calf is still bugging him. And now it's creeped up into his hamstring a little bit. He's reporting a little bit of hamstring tightness in there, which is bad news. We've had a couple guys the last couple of years that have started out with either hamstring strain or calf strain and had it spread to the other muscle and really been problematic the entire year. The most notable was Manny, his last season in L.A. He really had some issues. Another guy is Jimmy Rollins, who had some problems last year with both the hamstring and the calf. The problem there is the insertion site of the hamstring muscle is right where the calf muscles and tendons originate. So what happens is you get a little imbalance in there, and an irritation of one can lead to problems in the other. Plus, you weaken your kinetic chain when you have a strain in one of those muscles, and it can alter the way you're walking, the way you prepare, which can lead to imbalance in your leg and really lead to another muscle injury. And I think that's what's happened with Braun. I wouldn't be surprised to see him head to the DL soon, just because this has been extremely problematic for the last couple of weeks. And I really think it's time for them to shut him down and give him some time, because the last thing they want is a calf strain and a hamstring strain, because then you're talking about an extended period of time on the disabled list, and no fantasy owner wants to hear that.
So you have him, you drafted him on draft day. You're way past the name and the value of what Ryan Braun is when he's healthy. If you have him, what are you accepting in a trade for him? If you want to go get him because you're in a keeper league maybe and you could keep him, or in my league where you give up draft picks, you can make one draft pick trade. Are you trading him for a draft pick and maybe taking him as a keeper next year?
It's got to be a high draft pick. He's still putting up MVP numbers this season. It's really hard to say how this is going to affect him. If you're in good status in your league and you're kind of locked into the playoffs, I think it's worth waiting out. If you're kind of on the fringe, I still wouldn't take anything less than a top flight guy, because maybe one of those guys that is positioned better and can take him, especially if you don't have a disabled list spot. But I still think once he gets healthy, and if he is able to get healthy, which I think he will if they'll shut him down, he's still got top value on him, and you shouldn't try to sell dollars on the penny.
All right, let's move on to Grady Sizemore. Again, so much optimism at the beginning of the year because he got healthy after a while. He started to show flashes that he was the same guy. Cleveland was winning, but then, my goodness, a glass doll, a China doll once again, and now it's the knee again.
It's his 3rd trip to the disabled list this season, which, is maddening for fantasy owners if you took the gamble on him. We said at the beginning of the year it was going to be a calculated risk if you went with Sizemore, and I still think that's the case. I'm a little bit more worried about this than the last injury. His second stint on the disabled list was for a knee contusion to his right knee. So not his left surgically repaired knee, but his right knee. He injured it when he slid into a base. Well, the most recent injury they're calling a knee contusion, but it doesn't make a whole lot of sense based on his mechanism of injury. He didn't slide into a base. He didn't hit it in anything. Basically, he was rounding first base and kind of tweaked his knee. If you've seen the replay, he takes an awkward step, kind of comes up limping, makes it into second. The ball hits him to add insult to injury. And then, he gets up and it has to be helped off the field and limps off. So I really think this could be something more than just a knee contusion. They're saying that the pain was immediate rather than gradual like it had been, and that there's a little bit of cause for concern in Cleveland. I would not be shocked if this is something serious. We're going to hear more in the next couple of days as further tests come out. But, I'm preparing for Sizemore to be out for a while.
Jose Bautista is another one. And again, you're at this point in the season, when you really look at it, like in my league, we have 5 weeks left before the playoffs. We have a 12-team league, 8 teams make the playoffs. So you really got to look at that. We've got like 6 of those teams tied at 7-7. And my pitching has carried me all year. I'm looking for a hitter. So I don't have Jose Bautista. I passed on him in the second round. I ended up taking Mark Teixeira because of him. That's a pretty good debate when you look back at it now. Teixeira is struggling. But again, for the rest of the year, for the next 5 weeks and whatever turns out to be the playoffs, are you bullish on Jose Bautista? And what is his injury situation with the ankle?
Well, he's got that sprained ankle that's bugged him for a little while coming out of the All-Star break. I think he's going to be fine. I think a lot of people are kind of overreacting to the fact that he was in a walking boot, but you have to remember a walking boot is better than crutches. He's at least able to bear weight, and a lot of times now, instead of crutches, it's easier to ambulate in a walking boot. So they'll put a player with a sprained ankle in that walking boot. I'm interested to see how he does coming out of the gate because, he's a guy that hits missile home runs. He doesn't hit just, rocket bombs, all upper body strength. He uses his entire body. He's not, a huge bulky guy. So there is a lot of power generated through his legs, and it's going to be interesting to see if his power numbers dip initially. I still think this is something that it's not super serious. We haven't heard anything, a fracture. It just sounds like your garden variety ankle sprain, and I think that's probably what it is. It may take him a little while. He may need a couple of days off to, if the ankle swells up once he returns to play. But, the guy has been amazing offensively, and you have to get him out there. You need him in your lineup because he's going to be a producer across the board. And hopefully it's nothing that lasts long term. I don't think it's going to be.